Hey everyone! In today's video I'll be showing you how to edit a wildlife photo using the basic Lightroom tools. Whether you're a beginner or looking to refine your skills, this video might help you to take your wildlife photography to the next level. My name is Jordi, a professional field guide and wildlife photographer. I'm excited to take you on a journey through the stunning beauty of the African bush. Here you'll learn more about wildlife alongside with tips and tricks for capturing your own incredible photos and mastering the art of editing. Whether you're a nature enthusiast or a budding photographer, join me as we explore the wonders of Africa together. Alright guys, here we go. This is the photo that we're going to edit today. It's a lion cub of the Makepe's Pride in Thorny Bush Nature Reserve, South Africa. I took the shot a couple of weeks ago. I think it has a lot of potential, but obviously it's still a raw file, so it looks a bit pale. So I think we got some work to do here. There we go. Alright. So the first thing that I would like to do is go all the way down on the right hand side and remove chromatic aberration, enable profile corrections, and you saw the subdial change there. I'll go all the way back up, and then I would like to select my crop. How do I want to like my crop? Let's do a Instagram crop. So let's pretend that we're going to post this photo on Instagram. So obviously the line here, I want to basically put that around the eyes. So let's see if we do it like this, if this works. There we go, put the eyes a little bit in the middle. Yeah, I think this works perfectly. Awesome, all right, there we go. So then the next step is make sure that the coloration is fine, or the lighting is fine, sorry. So let's check the lighting. I'm gonna put the exposure a little bit up. You can see that the background here is much lighter than the line itself. But we're gonna use that in our advantage. I don't think there's going to be a major issue, even if it's a little bit overexposed. All right, there we go. Put the exposure up a little bit until the line is, I think, in good exposure. And I think this is just fine. We'll put the highlights slightly down. I'm going to put the shadows a bit up so that the eyes are a bit brighter. And then put the whites up too. I don't mind if we boost it quite a lot. And when I put the blacks down, you see that quite a lot of contrast, or like the line is gonna pop out a little bit more, as you can see here. It's not a lot of changes, but it works. I like it. All right, now you see, I can see that there's a bit of green in the image, and I don't like that at all. So I'll just change the tint a little bit. You can also, on the right hand side here, in color profile, you can also change it here. You can see subtle difference though, but I think if we just put the tint up a little bit here to 20, I think this is perfect. All right, there we go. So now I actually want to select the subject. We're gonna work on the subject now, the line itself. So what I use then is basically add new mask, select subject on the right hand side. Obviously it will start working now, but I think it works best for the initial image. But you see there's some issues here, like obviously the leg here is not 100%, and there's some patches on the grass here that are in focus or selected, but I don't want to be selected. So we'll just do subtract, and then with the brush I will remove the sections here on the left hand side. It doesn't need major adjustment. I'm gonna waste too much of your time here, and then add a little bit too, and obviously I want to add this section here. Obviously normally I will be a little bit more precise with the grass there, but just for the example I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna make a major difference, but you see now that the subject is pretty well selected and in focus. So let's continue here. I'm gonna put the exposure up a little bit to see what's happening. Yeah, that's fine. But we're actually gonna go down now. I want to emphasize the line a lot more, so we'll do that with the 3 effects here. So I like those ones. So we're gonna use the texture, clarity, and the dehaze. Dehaze sounds a bit weird because there's not a lot of haze in the photo, but you'll see just now what happens if I lift it a little bit. But we're gonna start with the texture. I'll put the texture up a little bit. See how that goes. So around 20. I'll put the clarity up a little bit too, but I don't want to work it too much. I mean, like, if you put it all the way up, it looks fake, and that's obviously something we want to avoid. So I like to take my photos, or like edit my photos in a natural way. I want to keep the animal natural, and I don't want to overdo anything. All right, there we go. You can see already, like especially around just below the eyes, you see quite a lot of change. And then I like the texture and the clarity a little bit more. The line pops a little bit more, if that makes sense. All right, and then we're gonna play with dehaze. If I put it all the way up again, you see the change is gonna be, it's gonna be very hectic, and that's not what we want. But if you just do a little bit, so if we come from here, so this is nothing. It's a subtle change, but I like it though. It makes the eyes, just below the eyes, a bit darker. The ears also a little bit darker, and it stands out a little bit more from the background here in the back here. I think it's quite important that we keep some of the features in the lion quite dark, but I'll explain that just now, why I'm doing that specifically. All right, I actually quite like it. So yeah, I'm gonna finish that up, and now I'm gonna use another mask. Well, not a mask actually. I'm gonna use the brush now for the eyes, because everything is quite nice. I like the coloration of the line. Everything's pretty well. It's not too light. Maybe we can actually put the exposure up a little bit. I don't want to get the chin here overexposed. This is a little bit too much. I think this is perfect. There we go. All right, let's use the brush, guys, to emphasize the eyes a little bit more. So exactly, we're going to the right hand side here, create mask, and then we're gonna select our brush, zoom in on the eyes. There we go. See, it's nice and focus. A lot of people don't want to select the whole eye, but I don't mind it too much, to be honest. Just make sure that everything is nicely selected. Also on the left hand side. Computer was struggling there a little bit. I was not very precise there, so let's quickly subtract there with the brush. There we go. Now we should be fine. All right, there we go. Now I like to zoom out and put our exposure up until we like it. See, it's already popping much more. It gives the photo much more character. I really like that. But you see that the whole eye is getting quite bright now. But I don't want necessarily the blacks to be also bright. Obviously, you miss a lot of details there. So we just go to the blacks now. Put that a little bit down. Let's see how that works. There you go. It also makes the eye a little bit more yellow, and I actually quite like it like that. All right, there we go. I think this is sorted, and the eyes are done. So then we go to a new mask, and we're gonna play with the background here. It's pretty, but I like I said earlier, like I want to use that dark elements in the line for its benefit. So I'm gonna overexpose the background here, so it really like explodes, or like it pops on the image. So let's go to a radial gradient, and let's basically put the gradient all over the line and the image. There we go. Let's put it in the center. But obviously I do not want to get the line affected by this radial gradient. So what I'll do again, I'll go subtract and then select subject. And you'll see just now, the line will basically go back to normal. There we go. Normally I would then check very precisely if everything around the ears, everything is fine, but it actually doesn't look too bad. And like I said earlier, I don't want to waste too much of your time. So let's just get that going. So I'll put the exposure up quite intensely here. That's a bit too much. Let's go a little bit down. And also I don't necessarily like the radial gradient 100%, so let's go back to the radial gradient and put that a little bit wider on both sides. There we go. I think that will work. It's already a lot better. All right, there we go. That works. So now you can see there's obviously a bit of artificial light here, but I think it pops the line, makes the line pop much more. And we're just gonna, yeah, we're just creating a little fake sun here. So now I'm gonna go down. The exposure is a little bit too high, I think. Let's go a little bit down. But we need to adjust that again later, in a later stage. Go all the way down, and we're gonna go back to our effects section here and dehaze. But now I'm gonna put it the opposite side. So it literally becomes a bit of a haze in the background there. All right, and then we're gonna move up. I'm gonna play with our coloration. So you see it became quite, yeah, a bit pale. So I just literally wanna raise the temperature a little bit. Add some yellow. There we go, it's maybe a bit too much, but I think it looks pretty well. And there we go. What I'll do next then, I think I'm quite happy with this radio gradient. You see now what I'm saying with the blacks and the ears, like the darker patch on the lion's face. It pops now way more versus the background when we just add a little bit of basically a fake sun. I think it looks really well. So let's see our progress from now, on the beginning until now. I think it looks really cool. But obviously I want to add another radio gradient to shift the focus away from the bottom side here. I do not want, it's quite bright here, so I want more emphasis on the line. So let's create another radio gradient. There we go. Obviously I want the line now in the center when we add this radio gradient. There we go. I think this will do the trick nicely. Maybe put this one a little bit down. All right, there we go. All right, but I don't want to, of course, put a lot of shade in the center. So what I'll do now is invert, and you'll see that the outer sections are now going to be selected. There we go. But also I don't want to get the line too much affected by the radio gradient, so I just want to subtract this subject here again, so that the line is not affected by it at all. Even the ears here, I don't want to get that a little bit darker, and also these patches here. Obviously the leg of the line is obviously an issue again, so I'm just going to use the brush there and quickly remove the radio gradient from there too. Like I said, I'm not going to be too precise here, it's just an example. All right, there we go. So I think we can work now with the radio gradient, and just basically what I'm going to do now is put the exposure a little bit down. You see that the darker patch becomes, well, the bottom part becomes a bit darker, and that's exactly what I want to do, so that the line is more emphasized. There we go. All right, I think it looks pretty good for now. I just want to add a little bit more yellow to the whole image itself. Like the line still looks a bit pale, so I'm just going to play around with the temperature a little bit, so that it looks a little bit warm. Like we don't have a lot of other different colorations in the image, so I don't think it's going to be a major issue. If you do have a lot of different colors in the image, especially for example in the summertime, this photo is taken in the winter time in South Africa, everything is quite yellowish and brown, but there's no greenery in the photo, so you can get away with just raising the temperature a little bit here. I think it looks actually much better now compared to where we started with the coloration. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good image. I think we sorted. This is a quick edit. I didn't want to go too much into detail, but this is a simple way using the basic Lightroom tools to make your image much more alive. Hopefully this makes sense. I'm just gonna quickly go before. It's very pale. After. I like it. The line pops. It looks epic. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you find it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one.